Do you want to see a Red Dead Redemption adaptation with maybe Bradley Cooper starring? What if I tell you that won't be a good idea? Let's look into this. Reason number one, a Red Dead movie would be doomed. The games are just too dang massive to squeeze into a 2-hour film. I mean, the epic adventures of John Marston and Arthur Morgan span like 60+ hours of content. Wild West tales that expansive would need to be a Game of Thrones style series to do them justice. You can't condense all of that rich story and choice into a single movie sitting. So much would have to be gutted that it would barely feel like Red Dead anymore. No way a movie could capture the full redemption arcs for Arthur and John that we slowly experience over countless hours immersed in their worlds. Plus, how would you choose which protagonist to focus on? You couldn't capture both stories sufficiently. I guess you go with John as the main Red Dead face, but it would sting losing Arthur's legendary tale. Either way, fans lose out watching years of gameplay butchered into an abridged remake. Nah, Rockstar crafted a sprawling, playable cowboy masterpiece, too gigantic to box into a single film. Red Dead needs room to breathe, not to be saddled and reined in. You gotta let players roam free, not watch trapped in a theater. Condensing the magic would only tarnish the legacy. For reason number two, I just don't trust Hollywood directors nowadays to do Red Dead proper justice. We're talking about the next generation who grew up on Marvel movies and CGI fests, not gritty westerns. All the great directing veterans like Eastwood and Leone are long retired. I mean, can you imagine Michael Bay trying to adapt Red Dead? We'd get non-stop explosions and horses diving from helicopters in slow motion, or something ridiculous. Red Dead needs someone who respects subtlety, not overblown spectacle. And don't even suggest Tarantino. I love the guy, but his style is too modern self-indulgent. Red Dead should feel classic and timeless. Scorsese in his prime could have nailed the tone maybe, but now, I just don't see today's Hollywood understanding Red Dead's restraint. Nope. We'd almost certainly end up with hacks who don't get Red Dead making some bombastic shoot-'em-up or angsty melodrama instead of a nuanced portrait of cowboys. No one modern has the skill to avoid dumbing down the morally complex stories and characters we love. I want to keep the Red Dead legends intact, not watch them get Michael Bay'd. For reason three on why this prospective Red Dead movie is doomed, they'd absolutely neuter the grit and violence to make it family-friendly. Fans want that brutal, mature Western tone from the games preserved. But we know a Hollywood adaptation would shy away from the extreme bloodshed and dark adult themes that are core to Red Dead's impact. No way a big-budget studio gambles on restricting audiences with an accurate, mature rating. The only realistic outcome is a watered-down PG-13 neutering of Red Dead to maximize tickets sold. All the visceral gunfights, bloody injuries, explicit dialogue, sacrificed. What's left would barely resemble the harrowing frontier struggles we experience in the games. This wilderness needs to be raw and unforgiving, not defanged. My next reason why a Red Dead movie is destined to fail? The complex themes of redemption and morality just hit different when you experience them actively as a player. Observing passively on screen lacks the same weight. The story unraveling dynamically based on honor and decisions is Red Dead's magic. As Arthur and John, every action resonates powerfully because we inhabit them. On a big screen with zero agency, those poignant turning points lose meaning watching numbly from afar. No movie can replicate the gravity of riding in the gang yourself or controlling key choices. Red Dead's brilliance stems from making you own outcomes. A film strips that participatory power, the difference between empathy and detachment. Nuances require player immersion, not observation. Reason number 5 why attempting a Red Dead movie spells almost certain doom. Hollywood would butcher the casting horribly. We're talking producers who think throwing the hottest actors together regardless of fit equals box office gold. Can you imagine Channing Tatum as John Marston just because he sells tickets? Or some teen heartthrob as Arthur for the youth appeal? My worst nightmare is them casting The Rock as Dutch just for his star power. The characters we love would become shallow caricatures played by blockbuster names chosen through boardroom calculations versus authenticity. All subtlety and depth discarded to manufacture drama, using the actor names as bait alone. I want to preserve the characters' integrity, not watch studio suits hollow them into vehicles for celebrities unfit for the roles. Wooden A-listers sleepwalking through the adapted story, while fans mourn the nuanced outlaw portraits that drew them in. No amount of visual polish can redeem the miscasting devastation dealt by careless executives. Some titles deserve reverence, not reckless repackaging. For adored stories like Red Dead, soulless casting churns art into merchandise cashed in on versus honored. I want my legacy cowboys treated with respect, not reduced to hollow Hollywood bait. For reason number 6, why condensing Red Dead into a single movie is misguided. It would completely lose the immersive open-world experience. The vibrance and magic of Red Dead comes from letting us live in its dynamic worlds ourselves. On screen, you lose the thrill of exploring every corner, unraveling secrets and stories that let the settings breathe. Hunting, side quests, chance encounters, all essential flavor lost cramming into a condensed runtime. No movie can capture the atmosphere of campfire songs under the stars at Horseshoe Overlook, or braving harsh snowstorms atop Grizzly's mountain peaks. Red Dead's soul exists within gameplay moments and emergent adventures, not predetermined cutscenes. That rich freedom and environmental storytelling just doesn't translate passively repackaged for theaters. The Man with No Name worked because his movies centered on isolated, mysterious tales. Red Dead needs wilderness as a boundless, living backdrop we inhabit. Rockstar didn't spend years crafting stunning open worlds just for Hollywood to lock their crowning achievement back into a linear cage. Red Dead's magic is riding off into horizons full of potential, not watching a highlights reel devoid of discovery. For reason number 7, this supposed Red Dead adaptation will never happen. Rockstar just flat out doesn't care about making movies based on their games, and thank goodness for that. Unlike Neil Druckmann desperately pandering The Last of Us to Hollywood, Rockstar focuses on pushing games as an art form themselves versus chasing clout from adaptations. They let their world-class titles speak for themselves, and you'll never see Rockstar suits flooding award shows or begging for mainstream spotlight like some studios. They avoid self-indulgent celebrity schmoozing and trust fans to recognize their greatness through unmatched gameplay experiences alone. While other companies sell out artistic integrity chasing streams, merch, spin-offs, Rockstar diligently sticks to advancing interactive entertainment on its own merits. Their games stand the test of time on quality and innovation versus exploitation. So attempting to pressure a movie out of a studio firmly against creative compromises contradicts why we revere Rockstar in the first place. They understand some masterpieces flourish untouched by commercialization. A Red Dead adaptation only tarnishes immaculate legacies built by refusing greed's temptations. Reason number 8. A Red Dead movie is destined for disappointment. Adapting the multiple endings of Redemption 2 would inevitably undermine player agency. A cornerstone of Arthur's story is that we decide his path toward redemption through honor choices. But a film would force just one canon outcome, robbing us of authoring that morality tale ourselves. No singular ending the movie imposes can encapsulate the poetic tragedy of Arthur's downfall across high and low honor paths. Our choices bearing narrative fruit is Red Dead 2's greatest innovation. Yet converting that to a passive medium strips away the very player freedom that makes Arthur's redemption so profound. We walk in his boots, but a film relegates us to the sidelines void of impact. Some tales transcend greatness through participation shaping distinct outcomes. Red Dead 2 understands its medium's interactivity advantage where films fall short. Our emotions invest most when we steer destiny via gameplay, not observe helpless. RDR2's multi-layered endings reward investment with resonance, but prepackaged for theaters, we're left mourning the agency's absence. Our own imagined legend persists beyond any derivative adaptation. For reason number 9, this adaptation spells trouble. Condensing a 60-plus hour epic into a 2-hour runtime would strip away the meticulous pacing that draws players in. Half the majesty of Red Dead comes from slowly immersing yourself in its sprawling worlds and growing attached to characters over time. Racing through the story abridges those poignant moments of adventure and bonding. When we hastily jump from plot point to plot point, the nuance gets lost. Critical character development scenes reduced to montages would feel unearned, and emotional moments need room to breathe or they ring hollow. Red Dead's measured pace pulls players into its web by making us live with these people until their fates resonate deeply. A movie's hurried narrative undercuts that investment, creating detachment versus empathy. Few tales deserve ample time to envelop audiences more than Red Dead's sweeping sagas. Racing to cram content into limited screens would mangle majestic storytelling into a disjointed imitation. Some journeys unfold best slowly but surely, like crossing fertile valleys, not careening recklessly like a train off unfinished tracks. We can't rob Red Dead's deliberate brilliance rushing toward unfinished destinations. For my final reason, this whole Red Dead movie fantasy should be abandoned. The games themselves already deliver a flawless cinematic experience. What more could a film adaptation provide beyond compromising perfection? Red Dead's cutscenes, storytelling, and characterization rival Oscar-caliber movies already. Except we get the added immersion of steering these unforgettable narratives ourselves. No movie can replicate the emotional weight of actively fighting to protect a doomed Arthur Morgan versus passively watching. Red Dead elicits players' empathy through lived choices, a direct-to-heart impact film lacks. Truly, do fans crave replacing profound gameplay agency with a stripped-down retread? At best, a movie would offer visual splendor at the cost of engrossing freedom. But Red Dead's spectacular vistas and animations don't need a big screen to impress. Its stories stay etched in our hearts through engaging challenges faced, not disposable spectacle observed. No matter how spectacular a hypothetical adaptation may seem, it only detracts from accomplished interactive artistry. We've already experienced the definitive Red Dead on controllers, not as observers. Some masterworks fulfill their medium's promise so completely that adaptations would only interrupt our personal connection. Red Dead's open-world odysseys stirred our very souls. No imitation can recapture that magic. We've already lived the legend. So this was just my opinion and analysis on this topic, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.